making moves need a hip stop. Now getting shots, no prerequisite for hip hop. And some of y'all going platinum, really hip flops. Put your hands in the air if you hip hop. And you won't say your soul to reach the hip top. Man, getting shots, no prerequisite for hip hop. And some of y'all going platinum, really hip not. Hip hop is what you live, is what you give. Is canvas, Converse before lugs and Timbs. Hip hop is before the N-word was a common phrase. Hip hop used to be knowledge for the sons of slaves. Hip hop was on the corner till the cops came.
Yeah, y'all know what day it is already. It is your boy Tony Briscoe. You know it's Friday. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Tony Briscoe Live, bringing the community to you with a little bit of news without the noise. Thank you all for being here. Before we get started, you all know I always like to kick off talking about what's happening in the world and pieces like that. And so I'm just doing a quick sound check because I don't hear myself on YouTube, which is a little bit weird right now. So let me find out what's going on with that. I think I know what's going on with that, y'all. I got my Bluetooth device connected. That's what's going on with that. So let me find out. There we go. So I'm all good now, y'all. Like to do those little sound checks. I got this Rodecaster Pro that I use. And so sometime, it takes over my Bluetooth. Which we got a word for that in cyber security world, but we'll talk about cybersecurity next week when I bring on an official member of the Wu-Tang Clan who goes by the name of Professor Roger White. But until then, let's get into some news before I bring in my guest, who is a very good friend of mine. We go back like two left shoes in the desert. You know what I'm saying? So but thankful you all to be here. Y'all know I always start out with one statement, that the views of Tony Briscoe and his guests are not necessarily the views of Be in the Mix or Be in the Mix Media Group. Please do not hold them accountable for the crazy things that may come out of my mouth on occasion, but do hold me accountable for my words. Today is June 25th. Shout out and happy birthday to my high school homie who turned 50 today, my man Classic. We got a song coming out on the album that'll be released later this year. I get him back into the studio, so looking forward to this project. I'm not going to get a name of the project right now. I'm going to keep it to myself so nobody tries to steal it, y'all. But hey, today, I will not say his name, but the officer convicted of murdering George Floyd was sentenced to 22.5 years in prison. I say this about all murderers who do not get life in prison. At least you get to breathe and go home one day. George Floyd does not have that luxury. Also in the news, a building near Miami, Florida, partially collapsed. According to CNN, 4 people are dead and at least 159 people remain missing. I heard a news report yesterday. I can't cite the source right now, but I was just listening in the background to the news, and it said that this building had been losing like 2 meters. It had been dipping 2 meters per year since the 90s. And so how this happened, it's an atrocity. I'm sure there'll be lawsuits filed from families. And I'm also sure that somebody should be held accountable for this grave negligence. It's pretty unfortunate. 159 people is a lot. 10 people missing is one person missing is a lot, but 159 due to a building collapse seems just really extensive. Watching the videos of that building collapsing. I mean, we're talking about people were sleeping. I mean, you talk about unexpected tragedy. This is surely one of those. And so we want to keep those families in Florida, please, in prayer. The Justice Department is actually suing the state of Georgia over their voter restriction laws. And I'm banking that more lawsuits will follow for the 17 other states who have also participated in voter restriction legislation, including Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Iowa, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Nevada, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming. I've said it before. Now, personally, for me, I have no issue with asking for identification when you vote. That's just me. You can call me narrow-minded. You can call me too conservative, whatever the case. I don't have an issue with it. I will say this. If these laws are the consensus of laws that are being taken care of by the Justice Department, then they let the Justice Department focus on the lawsuits. The Democratic Party should then focus on finding ways to ensure that people have proper identification at least. Now, I know that identification is only a microcosm of the restrictive laws. Again, for those who don't believe in voting, if your vote didn't matter, Republicans wouldn't be doing all they can to restrict your right to vote. And if your vote mattered, Democrats would do more than cater during elections. Seriously, has your phone rang since the election cycle has ended? That's something for you to think about. In sports news, man, the Brooklyn Nets were expected to be the conference and NBA champions this year, but the Milwaukee Bucks were able to hold on in overtime to beat them. Shout out to KD for enduring without Irving and without a healthy Harden. If that's hard, imagine how LeBron felt in a similar situation with injured teammates, including All-Star and Chicago native. Shout out to Anthony Davis. Other than that, you won't hear me speaking on sports because it's not my forte. Be in the Mix has a sports show. Beer or Latte, we're talking sports all day on Thursdays with Big Will C and Landon. So feel free to check them out when they go live. They'll be the ones who are doing the professional sports broadcasting, not me. As we get into our topic of today, when we talk about, bridging the wealth gap, we've got a long way to go. That's why my guest is here to talk about the new endeavor that she's on, and to bring awareness to our community, the Black and brown community, and the community in general, right? So the survey of consumer finances that is on the Federal Reserve website from 1989 to 2019 showed the wealth gap between Blacks and whites. There was a consistent $50,000 to $65,000 gap in pre-tax family income. Among the category of other races, which are non-white, Black, or Hispanic, there was a consistent $30,000 gap until 2019, when it skyrocketed to almost $55,000. All right. One of the means in which generational wealth is passed down is life insurance. Now, being a licensed agent, there are certain conversations I'm not permitted to have publicly. So my guest today was on her journey into financial literacy and here to share her thoughts on bridging the wealth gap. So I like to invite my guest, my friend, on into the stream. Her name is Nastasja Scott. I call her Nas. Nas, what is happening?
Hey, TB. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. How are you?
I am doing amazing. Thank you for asking.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
Just so you all know, Nas is no punk in the kitchen, but we're not here to talk about her cooking. I just want to say the girl makes a mean curry. That's all I'm saying. The lady can cook. I want to get that out the way.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Absolutely. Hey, so introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are. Again, with us being licensed insurance brokers, there are just some things we cannot talk about live. It'd be a violation of ethics and a violation of the law, but we can. I brought you on here, one, to talk about just your campaign for financial literacy and education for Black families, for brown families, and for those families who tune in. But introduce yourself to the people and tell them what you're working on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nastasja Scott. I am a licensed broker here at PHP Agency, a part of the Money Smart movement here in Oakbrook Terrace at the Chicago office. And I have been switching from IT to this field full time. Again, one of the things that made me switch over to this full time is the stability of the income in life insurance. So as we look through history and seeing which industry is most likely to make you a millionaire, or the most stable income where people won't more likely lose their jobs, is life insurance. So it's been through the Depression, it's been through the '08 bubble, it's been through COVID, because in COVID we grew 43% last year. So unfortunately, until people stop passing away or we stop procreating, life insurance is always going to be a relevant industry to be in. So that's my quick little spiel there.
Yes, it's going to put me to shame. I hope my coach is not watching this. He will surely say, "Boy, you got about 20 days before your license expires. Handle that business, okay?"
You need to go and get that renewed.
I'm gonna take care of that. I'm gonna take care of that. I've been working on more purposeful work for me. Yeah. And that's what I've been working on. But I want to piggyback on something you said and just talking about the entrepreneurship aspect to what you're embarking on now, with transferring away from IT into this field. One of the things that can bridge the wealth gap is taking folks off the focus from a regular 8 to 5, like that's going to be enough to sustain. Now, if you're working 8 to 5 and you're making like 800,000, heck, 300,000 a year, maybe this conversation is not for you. But the entrepreneurial side of this is really interesting. Why did you decide life insurance sales?
One of the things, like COVID opened up our eyes to basically, or mortality in a sense, right? And seeing some of the people that we know struggle passing away and them not being prepared, right? You see, once I started doing my research, because I like to dig into everything because I like an argument.
Yes.
You see how much like life insurance has been a stable industry. Life insurance can give people peace of mind, like because right now, like we have a young man that passed away, got shot down last week, 14. His family had to go to GoFundMe to ask to get help to bury this young man, right?
Okay,
And
so we're gonna pause right there because you brought it up. We have to talk about this.
Yeah.
We have to talk about preparation,
Right,
for death. These are conversations we have to have, right?
right. And then it's uncomfortable.
GoFundMe is making a whole lot of money off of funerals.
Yes,
Expenses.
especially in the Black and Brown community.
Wow.
Like we have a Samoan sector of our agency, and they have something like GoFundMe in the Samoan community called Falalave Lave, right? And it's the same thing. Like the expectation is for us to come together. You get calls from the aunties, the uncles. You see the posts on Facebook asking to support the families to bury their young people. You see the GoFundMes. But one of the things that people don't understand about insurance, that's why I'm so passionate about this. Once I realized it's not sometimes because people don't want to, it's because of the lack of knowledge that they have on the subject, right? God forbid, like if she had a $20 policy on her young man or her son, here is where she could have buried the young man and actually have time to grieve, because most of the things that we don't get to do, especially when you're not prepared, is take that time to grieve, because you have to, like, oh my God, because guess what? Your bills don't stop. The expectation, you can't come in and like, yeah, my baby just died. Can I get some, can I not pay this bill for a couple of months? You can't say that. All these, unfortunately, life still goes on even in your pain, and you can't spend the time to deal and process through the trauma of your pain, right?
Absolutely.
And that's something that I realize is very big for our communities to know, to be able to have the time to process. And even if you don't die, most people don't realize that they can also use their insurance while they're living. Some people use it, pull from the insurance. And again, this is a tax-free vehicle, to be able to help you purchase a home, send your child to college. One of the things that with the carriers, I'm just going to segue a little bit, that we work with some of the major insurance carriers here at PHP, because
Don't say names, please. Don't say names.
Okay, no names. Okay, so we work with several carriers here. So we don't say, hey, we just need to fit you into this policy. It's like, no, what are your needs? Okay, what level of budget are you working with? And we structure something so you can start somewhere. Most people feel like, oh, insurance is expensive. Actually, no, it's not. It's the fact that sometimes people wait till later on it becomes expensive, right?
Absolutely.
$20 could get you $100,000 policy, but most people don't know that, right? And that's $20 a month. It's you're outweighing. God forbid, something that we have here in our policies is called living benefits. Most people think that they have living benefits in their policy, but they don't. It's just terminal illness, and that doesn't really apply to you. So God forbid you have a stroke, you get cancer or something like that. What living benefits in the policy does is the insurance company can advance you up to 90% of your death benefit to be able to go to therapy, chemo, have your bills paid, for you to be able to live and survive. Because how many people do we actually know right now in a situation where they got into a car accident, had cancer or stroke, and then they're financially destitute?
Well, I mean, in our community, I mean, we know too well, right? Where you find a profit gap or a wealth gap, you also find a poverty gap, right? And
Exactly.
so those things are sometimes, some are due to systemic racism, and the
Right.
other ones are due to ignorance, and not ignorance in an insulting way, just ignorance in the fact of, wow, I never knew, or no one
Exactly.
ever told me, or no one ever explained to me. So what's one of the ways that so you have something going on at 5:30 today, right? So tell the people what you have going on at 5:30 on Facebook Live that you're doing today to try to give awareness and raise education for our people.
So a few of myself and a few of my business partners will be doing a financial room using Facebook Messenger group. So if you go on my Facebook page, just look for my name, you'll see that I have a financial group going at 5:30, and we're going to be going over the four homes of money. Most people don't realize what the four homes of money is and how it can give you gains rather than losses. So we're just going to go over that, and people will have the option to ask us questions at the end of that. So because we're trying to structure it and do little by little,
Mhm.
because financial services is so big and so many things that you can do with um, insurance. But first, we have to educate you, because if we don't change what's between our ears here and how we think about money and how money can work for us, we won't really get the concept of what we're really talking about. Because most people's like, oh, I want to start a business, but most people don't know, like, are you structured correctly? How you can use your life insurance policy to do that? How you can use Section 7202, 7702 of the tax codes to help
Oh,
you.
she throwing out some big names now, y'all. She throwing out
you
some
know,
big names. She's
you
showing out a
know,
little bit.
you can,
So
get a
I'm 25.
yeah.
I just finished college.
Mhm.
I finished college at 22. I'm 25 now. I got my master's degree. I'm young. I'm gonna live for a very long time. I've got my regular insurance policy through the job, which is typically $50,000. I got student loans I'm paying off. Why do I need to have life insurance at all? Why?
Okay.
I'm young. I'm healthy. Like, I'm feeling good.
And that's great. I'm glad that you're healthy, and I'm glad that you're feeling good. This is the best time for you to get that. And the reason why you want to get life insurance is because it's a s- it, I want us to think about life insurance in a way that it's not, you're thinking about it as a bill, right? You're thinking about it more as an investment. Depending on the policy that you get, as a 25-year-old, right, you could put money into that and save it, and in 15 years from now, you will be what, 35, what, 40?
Yeah.
20, yeah.
Now,
So
let's
you'll
let's
be
be
40.
clear, y'all. I'm doing this as a hypothetical. I am nowhere near 25
Right,
years old.
right.
I
We're
will be
just
a
using a
half a
scenario.
century in a month. Okay, in a couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. Let me make that clear. I'm throwing out a hypothetical here.
Right. And that's important, because like in 15 years from now, you may decide, I want to settle down, I want to get married, I want to start having children. I want to buy a home, I want to start my own business, right? You can use the cash value, because most like permanent policies have cash values in them. IUL is what I would recommend. Look it up, Google it. You'll see the benefits in there. Always, I just want to always preface this. If I say something that seems crazy for you, Google it. Google is your friend sometimes.
I Googled, therefore I am.
Exactly. You remember I usually
I
say
remember you
that.
used that. That
But
was
yeah,
10 years ago.
yes. So definitely, as a 25-year-old, you won't be 25 forever. As much as you feel like you'll be young forever in spirit, that's not necessarily it. Because you may be young and healthy now, but tomorrow is not promised. And tomorrow, God forbid, you could get into a car accident. Do you have any insurance to cover that? Because unfortunately, most people's like, oh, I have insurance at my job. But what happens if you leave the job or the job leaves you? So does that insurance policy, right? It doesn't follow you. And some people like, yeah, it follows me, but you're just locked in at $50,000.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do is call a dime, right? We look at your debt, look at your income. If you have a home or rent, who's going to pay that rent? God forbid you can't work for 6 months, right? You have
But,
children.
but I mean, so the challenge is, right,
Yeah.
for younger generation, right? Can you speak to, and we can do this professionally, and we can do this, as agents. I'd rather do it on the professional side, just on a
Mhm.
personal side, just to make sure we keep, our ethical codes that we're bound by when it
Right.
comes to advertising and pieces like that
Mhm.
intact. What is the burden placed on families when someone dies? There's no policy, there's no will, there's no trust. What is the dynamic of the family that takes on that burden?
Um, if there's no savings and no preparation for the next person, you are not going to be able to maintain that level of lifestyle that you are used to living, right? So I am the breadwinner of the family. Just imagine, I'm gone tomorrow. Who picks up that slack? Because if I'm the person who pays the mortgage, or I pay half your rent if you have roommates, and then I just disappear on you tomorrow, will you be able to cover that?
Yeah.
Right? So we end up into a poverty situation that we don't know how to get out of because
Yeah.
we're not prepared for it. Right? So that's one of the things that sometimes people think, oh, we're always going to be here, but because speaking about death or losing somebody that you love is a very hard and uncomfortable topic for people
Absolutely.
to talk about, but it's just like it's a necessity that needs to happen. That conversation needs to happen. As you know, they'll be like, are you trying to kill me off? Because my brother-in-law did that to me when I'm like, hey, are you covered? So because you have a 6-year-old, and I'm like, do you want to help, be in the conversation when it comes to, like, I have money put away for her college when that time comes. And he was like, are you trying to kill me off? No. The two things that are guaranteed in life for us is we're going to born and we're going to die, right? God
Yeah,
gave
no,
us
no.
free will.
You forgot to put 3 in there. Taxes.
Taxes, right? Because the only two things in life that can really screw you over is God and the IRS. I was so
Yeah.
serious.
I think Lecrae said he only fears God and the
God,
IRS. That's
facts,
it.
right? Because really, and I'm not saying you cannot come back out of that situation, but I was just like, if you prepared accordingly, this would be like a scenario you would not have to go through. So I always want people to think about it. Look at your life right now. If you're the breadwinner, because I know as most of the people are single parents, sometimes we have people here who are very passionate because they're also single moms. God forbid something happens to you. What happens to your children? Who is going to be the guardian to your children?
Yeah. Or
And
if
you're like,
you're
oh,
or if you're the sole provider of your house, you know,
exactly. And
if,
and
if
then it's
something
just
happens to your salary, what is your family going to be able to do, you know,
exactly.
with that?
Exactly. And then if say you have a home or you don't, you're renting, and then you want to give your children to the guardian, is that guardian financially stable enough to also add your children to their to their income level? What is their income level?
Yeah.
Right? So
Hmm.
it's always, to me, thinking about what's the next, right? Always thinking about your next. And most people don't think about the next. It's like, oh, I have a job, I'm expecting a check next Tuesday, but you could be fired between now and next Tuesday.
Yeah. No, that's
You know?
good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So real quick, give me something practical that people can take with them. Right. So you've got I don't want you to tap too much into your show because I want you to have some content there, which you can have.
Mhm.
But I want you to talk about a typical sit down with the client. Hey, what's up? They're coming in to see you.
Mhm.
They have no idea what they're about to get into. Leaving out the detailed insurance aspect. What's the
Mhm.
conversation that you have that's of value to open up the minds and the hearts of people to be educated about their finances, about
Mhm.
their income, about insurance, and about the bigger benefits of understanding the mental game that goes with when you decide that, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, settle down, and have a family. What should they be thinking?
First and foremost, what do you want your money to do for you? What are you looking for in this policy? Is just income stability, savings for your children, savings for future children, savings for you because 5 years from now you believe you may want to start a business, 15 years from now you want to buy rental properties. Be like Matt Sapala, one of my coaches, be able to structure your policy so much that you could pay $24 a month for a Rolls Royce. you know, where are you at? Because most people just want a little bit of comfort, and most people want to be prepared for the next several generations. So
Yeah.
one of the first conversations we have, what are you looking for? And then we have what's called a dime. We talk about what's your current budget. And most people don't know what their financial needs are. So we find out what is your financial need. And that's where the dime comes in. We look at how much debt, estimate what's your debt, what's your current income. And like we said earlier, if you're the sole proprietor or the main person, if your family should lose your income, how many years would you want them to still have a comfort where you have that much
Mhm.
in savings where they could like, oh, I have some time to pay for this
All right. I'm hoping that's her system and not mine. That's
and
okay. You locked up for a little bit, but go ahead.
okay, and then you have some time to either sell the home or what do you call it, minimize where you can adjust to not having this income. And then we also have, if again, education, like, do you want to go back to school, have somebody that depends on your income to go back to school, or if you have a niece or nephew or something, if you don't have children, to say, hey, I want to be able to have something for their college education. I want to be in that conversation when they're saying their graduation speech. I thank you for my aunt or my uncle or my cousin or my friend to say,
Right.
they put together and helped me get to this point, right? So we have those conversations. And then what that shows us is what that person's financial need is. Because most people don't know that. They don't think about the debt because most of the time people's like, oh, I'm going to be dead, so I don't have to worry about it. You should, because the person that you're leaving behind, they will come after that person. Some of you that you don't even know this, they will come after the next of kin to pay for your mistakes. And
Yeah.
I know most people don't even like, I'm going to be dead, I don't really care about what they do, I already did my part. But no, you didn't take care of your debt, right? Even if you just have enough to pay for your mistakes,
Yeah.
where it won't be the burden of the next person. So those are the conversations we have, and it's very uncomfortable for some people, but we have to have it because we want to be a benefit to you. Most people already have policies, but it's not enough, because most people are like, oh, I already have insurance. Great. Does your insurance have living benefits? Because most of the time, if it's more than 15 years, no, it doesn't. So you should have that reviewed. Always have your policies reviewed every year. Just putting that out there. And sometimes you need to get additional coverage because for your financial need, where your family would be covered, it's not enough. Most people have a $50,000 policy and they're like, oh, I have $50,000.
No.
No.
Yeah. You can cancel 12 of that on the funeral by itself once you get the
Right.
money. So
Honestly, TB, it's more than 12. Unless you're getting cremated. You're thinking 25, 30,000, because most people just think about the funeral, but hear this. You have to think about the flowers for the funeral home, the repast,
hey,
the food,
we ain't got to do none of that.
the
I
back and
told donate my body to science. I want you to as least amount of money as possible to spend on me. That's what those are the instructions. I don't care if you throw me in a box, put me on the ocean and set me on fire like a Viking. I want you to spend the least amount of money possible on my funeral.
right.
I
That's
don't,
going to be a part of my trust, right? Because I want to put my money, because this is going way deep, but like I want to have a trust set up with an annuity, kind of like what Benjamin Franklin did for Boston. If people don't know about that, research it. He did Boston for like 100 years with life insurance, but
wow.
that's another story.
Another story, another
But
story, another story.
yes, another story.
But
So
the amount of money we spend on funerals, and look, I'm not like funerals. It's a business. Like
yes,
with all the amount of shootings and everything that we have going on across the country, not just in Chicago. Like funerals are necessary, right? You have people who
yes,
die all the time, elders,
hmm,
young people. It's an unfortunate part of life.
right,
All I'm saying for me is the amount of money that's spent is insane sometimes. Like there are
yes,
people who are getting funerals with their people standing up, sitting up, they're posing bodies for funerals now. Like,
right. But
I
the
don't
funny
I don't
thing,
need all that. Keep it simple for Tony Briscoe. I don't need all that. I don't want all that because I
but
want my resources to go directly to my family. And I think it's still an important discussion to have
mhm,
because when you talk about being able to honor the dead and their wishes, you kind of dead,
yeah,
dog. Like I feel what you're
right.
saying, but
And then
I
most
know
of the
I
time
know
they
you wanted
want
to
to
go in that oak box, but you didn't have no insurance policy, so you probably not
exactly,
going in a solid oak box.
exactly. They
You may be
want to be
going in
like,
a cardboard box with a wood lining. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Right. And most people they're like, and sometimes it's the emotional guilt where it's like, we owe this person. No, you don't. But that's another story in itself again.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, most people they want to honor them, but did they prepare that you can do that for them? did they have that $200,000 life insurance policy that they could take care of that level of funeral? And I'm like, especially when you're from different cultures where sometimes the funeral is like a week. Like, is the money there for that?
Look,
And
two places money is spent. And I don't want my fan base, that's like 5 people out there, to get on me for what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it. 2 places where money is spent frivolously: funerals and weddings.
yes, yes. As me, I was like, can we just sign the paper and get this over with? Because
Now, if you can afford 50, 60, 70, hey, whatever you can afford, go for it. I'm
cash,
already letting my
cash,
daughter know now.
not no loans.
I ain't paying
Or-
for no wedding. You want 20 stacks towards your crib, 10 stacks towards your crib, I got you. But I'm not paying. It's just like, I think we have to get so practical with what's a priority on spending. Now, I know everybody, for the most part, know I spent bank on my wife ring, but she deserved that. She earned that. We've been married 20 years. She needed
But
what I
how
got her
long
the
did it
first
take
time
you to
around.
spend bank on that though?
I paid cash for it.
Right, but I'm like, you built up for that. Well,
Absolutely.
it's not a burden. It's just like, oh, I can actually spend this cash on it,
Yeah,
and
because if
not
I
like,
died,
oh,
I didn't want them to come back and try to cut her finger off to get that ring back.
exactly, right. And then it's like, oh, I'm not gonna not pay my rent to get her this ring.
Right.
Right,
Right.
you were able to like, we
Yes.
could pay this mortgage, we could pay this car note, we could pay
Yes.
these lights, and
Yes.
also get you this ring.
Yeah.
That's what most people don't do. They're like, oh, I'll pay this next month, and then before, I buy frivolous things with the money, and I'm like,
So
that is
you're
not
about
gonna
teaching then, starting basically with financial goals for people and helping them
exactly.
actually understand how their money is currently working for them,
Mm-hmm.
and then how insurance or savings can offset with that financial literacy to make people
Right.
more prepared. Why is it important for single people who seem to think, and that's why I said single and not young, because there are older people my age who are still single, right? Why is it important even for them to have some type of policy? Because there can be the mindset, right, that, well, it's just me. I don't have any kids. I'm 50 something. I don't have children. Why do I need this extravagant, life insurance policy, when actually insurance is one of the biggest wealth transference opportunities on the planet right now?
Right. And as talking from a single person who
Hey, y'all see,
like,
she smiled when she said that, right, y'all? Where my brothers at? Y'all saw that, right?
Okay, happily self-coupled. Okay, me, I'm going on towards, like, right now for me myself, going towards $1 million of life insurance coverage on myself. Reason being, I have aspirations outside myself. I want to do philanthropic work, one, and two, my nieces and nephews. Those I want to be in the conversations for their college education, for their business opportunities if they don't want to go to college, right? I'm not saying that their parents won't be able to cover it, but in the current situation, they can't. If something should happen to me right now, they will be covered for a few generations, the way how I'm trying to structure my policies to be, right? Because I'm like, even though it's just me and I personally don't have anything, I am also a daughter. I am a friend.
Yes.
I am somebody's niece. I am somebody's godmother, right? I have those other roles that plays outside of me. Do I want to be able to impact them? That's why I said I always think about the next, for the next generation. It's like, how do I want to perceive when I'm gone? What is my legacy going to be? Is it just the fact that I was here? And then it just become, oh, a great decrepit tombstone somewhere that in about 3 years nobody's going to come visit, which I really don't really mind that, because it's really weird for me, people going to visit graves. It's weird, but but like,
Now,
what is
be
my
nice. Be nice.
I'm saying, for me personally, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
believe
no,
in
I
that.
get it. I get it. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You think about the next generation and what is your legacy going to be? Like, are they going to remember me 10, 20 years from now? And then my selfish goal is, you're going to remember that Auntie Rhonda, because that's how my nieces know me, existed. Auntie Rhonda made sure. I want to set an example for the next generation to say, hey, my mom and all of them, they decide to go do a 9 to 5. Auntie Rhonda's like, I want to do this 9 to 5 anymore, and take that chance to be your own owner, to build something that leaves a legacy, not just for you, because they may change their mind and want to have children. You know,
Absolutely.
they may want to have, it may not just be for me. So I
Yeah.
think about that. So single people, you know, you're that, your mom and dad, if they're still living, do you want to make sure that somebody's there to take care of them when they get older, if God forbid something happened to you and you can't do it?
So this
You know,
is really about really challenging the thought to take the picture
exactly.
off.
That's something. It has to start between the ears.
Yeah.
It's to think about the bigger picture and take the focus off of me and into a we mindset. Because unfortunately, sometimes we think about other communities. They think about the we, and sometimes we don't remember the we, right?
Well,
Like
we
when
don't
we
remember the we, and we can address that culturally because we've never had culture because we were stripped of culture. Right.
exactly
And so
right.
that's why everybody else considers the we. I think we as a community, when you talk about have to push it in the ear, but we have to push past the wax of fear, the
Right,
wax of the wax of not wanting to be exposed to what our true financial situation actually
right,
is, right? Like there's a level of embarrassment that may come. And so pushing past that kind of fear of how you are perceived
right.
is very helpful and very encouraging for some people. So I know you're running short on time and you've got to
Yeah,
prepare for your 5:30.
I
I
know. I have
want to
somebody else
do that.
preparing.
So with financial literacy then,
Hmm.
how are we able to start encouraging the community to even look at life insurance as a possibility and a potential? Like for me, for instance, I've been stagnant 4 years in it because I'm just not great at sales. It's just not what I just don't do it. Now,
Hmm.
why I worked hard on that exam, I don't know, but I'm just not great at it. But from the entrepreneurial aspect, my coach always tells me, like, I get what you're saying, but if you can do 5 people a month, then do 5 people a month. And so it's having to reframe my mind to say it's not that I'm not great at it. You have to practice something before you can say you're not great at it. Right.
Correct. And
Right.
then most of the time, people think I'm not great at sales, but you just sold yourself by telling yourself that you're not great at sales, right? So an example that I always use when somebody say that to me,
Are you getting on me
um,
live online? Are you getting on me right now?
facts are not attacks, TB. Facts are
Yes,
not
ma'am. Yes,
attacks.
ma'am. Facts are not a fact. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And one of the things too, like because we sell all the time, we just don't get paid for it, right? Because like we know when we saw Black Panther, I'm just going to use that because that's one thing Black people will know. Black Panther, we saw it. What did we do?
Wonderful.
We went on our Facebook and it was like, if you don't go, you people paid for other people to go see this movie, right? But did you get any money from the movie theater? No, you
Mm.
didn't. Did you get any money from Marvels? No, you didn't. But you promoted the daybreaks out of that movie as an epic historical event, right? We get car insurance because before you can drive your car, like you need some. For mortgages, we need to, get insurance. But when you get your baby from the hospital, what did they ask you for to make sure you had a car seat?
Car seat.
Rather than life insurance. Do you have life insurance on your baby, which you can actually get 3 weeks old, by the way, people, and save up for their college? 10 to 20 bucks a month can really do a lot for
Girl,
the
don't
future.
even get me started on my
Just
late
just
college
want to put
planning stuff. Don't even get me started. Don't don't
just
don't
want to
get me
put that out
started.
there. And even if they don't go to college and they just want to go like us into an entrepreneurship and start a business, it will be there for them as well. But getting back to my point, most people think they're not good at sales, but the funny thing is we have people like myself who train you, teach you how to bring this information, because basically what you're doing is educating people more than you're really selling them. They make the choice to buy what you're educating them about. We're
Mhm.
educating them about how insurance could work for you, like the work that we're going to be doing in Robbins for the next couple of years. By bringing financial, we don't charge you to give you the information. If you want to buy a policy, we connect you with the information, because we personally don't take money from people. We send your information to the carrier that accepted your app and that we submitted, which brought you the best value, because we try to, if for people who have existing policies, we try to give you a greater value for the money that you're already spending, if you want to replace it or just add to it, right? So it's not, oh, how would I put this nicely?
Put it nicely.
I can't put it nicely, so I'm just going to go back to my original point. We're just going to educate you. We educate the people that we recruit because, like, I have IT background, so they're educating me still. I work with certified field trainers every time I have an appointment because when the people are trusting us with their legacy, that's what I feel like you're doing when you're becoming my client. You're trusting me with your legacy. When you're becoming my partner, you're trusting me with your legacy. I need to do everything I can to educate you so you can best prepare for your family and the people that you eventually, when you pop out with your own agency, you are able to fulfill that, right? You are able to give them the information that you learn, getting you to the right people to make sure we're giving you the best value possible because we have turned away clients because it's not what's best for
Mm-hmm.
them.
Uh-oh.
And so
A little bit of a hiccup there. I'm not sure if it's your end or my end. I'm plugged into my LAN, so I don't. It may not be me this time.
it's probably me because I'm on Wi-Fi. Um, but that's one of the biggest things that I tell people.
All right. Well, your Wi-Fi locked up again, and it's all good. So real quick before you
Yeah.
freeze up again, tell people
Mhm.
about your 5:30, your 5:30 meeting that's kicking off in about 15 minutes,
Yes.
and we'll get
So
you out of here so you can finish preparing.
okay, so with that, we're going to be doing the four homes of money. That's basically where people normally, want to put their money is in 401k stocks and like now Bitcoin. But most people don't think about the financial vehicle of life insurance where you get all the gains and none of the losses. So we're going to go into detail about that, answer some questions, and that's what our topic is going to be for that. So tune in at 5:30 on Facebook Live. You see my name on the screen here, and I will let you into the room and yeah, provide you with some information. It's free of charge, just like we do here at the office. We provide you with information, and even if you don't partner with us and become one of our clients, at least you're educated enough to make the decision with whichever carrier that you choose from. It's just always want to make sure that you're educated, you have the information, so you're not out there without it.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, Nas, hey, thank you for coming in, hanging
Yes.
out with Tony Briscoe live and his people. His one person who's watching out there, whoever you are, I love you and I appreciate you. Hey, look, thank you
Appreciate you.
for tuning in and good luck on your 5:30. And
Thank you,
I'll try
sir.
to tune in if I can. I got a lot going on, but thank you for coming on with us and hope to have you back.
All right, will do, sir.
All right,
Thanks.
take care, my friend.
All right, bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Nastasja Scott, a good friend of mine who's in the life insurance business now and talking about changing the lives of people by going through the four spots of finances and home finances. And so we wish her well on her journey. If you're someone out there who's not insured, please have them reach out to the family lawyer or the family insurance broker. Get connected. Do not, I repeat, family, we see it too much and too often. And I've contributed to them because I believe in helping people. But let's not let GoFundMe be the resource when somebody and when our loved ones die that we have to call on the world to help us. And people have good hearts and there are people that will help. But let's take care of our responsibility and make sure that we are properly covered with life insurance because GoFundMe is not insurance. It's an opportunity, but it's not insurance. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. Tune in on my Facebook page, The Endurer, on Monday night. I do Message Mondays there with my brother, Gary Dotson. But until then, please continue to tune in to the Be in the Mix family. And don't forget the sports show that comes on Thursdays. Hey, it's your boy, Tony Briscoe. If I can leave you with a thought for the week, enjoy life. It is short. COVID has made it shorter. If there's anything we should do is walk in gratitude and be thankful for every day that we have here. With its struggles, with its blessings, with its curses, with its ups, with its downs, with its death, with its life. Make the best of it, family. It's your boy, Tony Briscoe, TBL Live. I will catch you all on next Friday. Please, I need you all to share next Friday's link. I am having Professor Roger White come on the show. I need you to get everybody who is 16 and older onto the stream next week. We are going to be talking about cybersecurity and the opportunity you have to change your life for $9.99 or $15.99. That taking one course, just one course starting, can change your life forever. I have a cybersecurity specialist and expert coming on who works for Microsoft, who's going to talk to us about cybersecurity and the work that the Black Cybersecurity Association is doing to increase people of color in cyberspaces. You do not want to miss next week. Trust me, it's going to be off the chain, and the opportunity for those who want to join the BCA and learn how to get involved in cybersecurity. Man, it's going to be really, really rich next week. Hope to catch y'all then. Until then, it's your boy, Tony Briscoe. We out of here. Peace.